The work that I do with the Urban Metabolism Group is based on the fundamental principles of industrial ecology, and this is a field that's populated by a very diverse group of researchers around the world. We're all looking at the resource requirements of our industrial processes, including construction. So the application of principles of ecological systems reusing waste, minimizing the need for inputs, basing energy requirements on renewable and reliable sources. All of these principles are based in a very large perspective that has been developed by people working in industrial ecology for decades. We've applied it to the built environment, and then the extension of that is applying an urban metabolism metaphor to cities that exist today. And so really looking at the city as an organism that acquires, consumes resources, and then produces wastes. Cities in the 21st century are going to determine the course of our species. So today, more than half of the population lives in cities. That's going to increase to about 65–70% in 30 to 40 years. And that's going to have a huge impact on society, on culture, on the global economy. Also, the shift is going to be from cities that are dominant today in the developed north to cities in Asia already happening, but then also in Africa. So there's a huge change that's occurring right now. This is really the century of cities. And for us to be able to understand better the consequences, both in terms of society and our needs, but also in terms of the natural capital and the ecology of the planet. Today we're working in Asia, we're also working in Africa, in Morocco, and in South Africa. And those contexts are extraordinarily different. So one of the things that we did a few years ago was develop a global urban resource consumption typology. This urban resource consumption typology was meant to cluster cities in terms of their typical profiles for acquiring and then consuming resources, and to use that as models for the future. So that set of 15 city types was a way for us to understand a huge array of cities across the globe. The Urban Metabolism Network was set up a few years ago on three principles. The first is that the work that we wanted to do had to be done with local partners in Africa. So having a better sense of the resource requirements of African cities really had to happen with local partners. The second is that the data and the information that we needed had to be generated and acquired by various methods, and working alongside data mining and data scientists, but also with government decision makers was important. And then the third was any implementation, any change in policy or technology introduction, again, had to happen with the full partnership of community and government and businesses in Africa. So that network was set up so that we would have a bridge between the research and the actual implementation and deployment of technologies and policies that would really make a difference for a low carbon future in Africa. Several cities I've worked with have been incredible test beds for looking at infrastructure in a new light. So Singapore has been a place that has been very willing and interested in addressing transportation. A number of automobile companies have been interested in looking at the vehicle design and how it integrates with an urban data system to be able to not only to track and to manage volume of traffic, but also to be able to then apply certain policy measures like congestion pricing that maintains a certain amount of traffic within certain areas given the needs of the population, given the needs of the marketplace. So the most interesting partnerships that I've been involved in cities often involves the government, a large company producing products that are delivered to the city, either vehicles or water system components or energy components, and then also involve the policy making that needs to change to allow for the city to be a test bed, and then for that then to transition into normal practice in a more sustainable way.